covering all your local high school football games with highlights and scores. Now, Football Friday, brought to you by Alabama Credit Union.
Good evening, everybody. I'm Gary Harris. Welcome into week 4 of the high school football season and week 5 of Football Friday. Remember, week 0 was actually the first week of games. That's why it's 11 weeks, but it's week 0 through week 10. But we're in week 5 of Football Friday, presented by Alabama Credit Union. Visit alabamacu.com to learn more. Alabama Credit Union, loans for real life. Well, Football Friday is 1 hour again this year, and we're efforting. I'm saying efforting because we're still working on getting highlights for one particular game, but we're trying to get 16 high school football games for highlights for you this evening, plus, of course, our complete Football Friday high school scoreboard presented by Beulah Baptist Church, our Football Friday Band of the Week, our premier service company Outside the Huddle feature, recruiting tales around the SEC, and, of course, even more. And we begin with our Watley Health Services Game of the Week.
Now, the Game of the Week, brought to you by Watley Health Services.
All right, it was a big one. Down to Hillcrest, 7A Region 3 matchup between the Huskies and the Patriots. Hewitt-Trussville came in undefeated. Hillcrest just one loss. First Huskies drive the game, 4th down. The Patriots, though, get the stop and get the turnover on downs. But later in the first quarter, Hewitt-Trussville on the goal line when running back Delvacchio Austin takes it in and gives the Huskies a 7-0 lead. Later in the first half, Hewitt-Trussville adds a field goal. Kicker Henry Farrell drills it to put Hewitt up 10-0. Later in the first half, Huskies 4th down near the goal line when the snap is fumbled and the Patriots get a stop again. So that defense hanging tough, but the offense just could not get anything going. And in the third quarter, Hewitt-Trussville still up 10-0. That's the freshman quarterback, Coach Floyd, the head coach's son, Jack Floyd. Imagine being a 9th grader and starting in Class 7A. That's what Jack Floyd is doing, and he scores the touchdown. That made it 7-0, or 17-0, I should say. And unfortunately for Hillcrest tonight, as I said, they just couldn't get the offense going. As we check out the final, their defense played well. Their defense was kind of up against it all night. So Hillcrest, after a 3-0 start and a 1-0 region start, they lose last week at Vestavia, and this one is a tough one tonight at home to Hewitt-Trussville, 24-0. Remember, 4 teams from 7A Region 3 will make the playoffs, but at 1 and 2 in the region now for Hillcrest, they're going to be behind the 8 ball a little bit. But again, that defense tonight, they played tough. Great atmosphere down at Hillcrest. Good football game, but Hewitt-Trussville moves to 5-0. So they got a really good team, that's for sure. All right, let's keep it going in 7A Region 3. Tuscaloosa County High looking for its first win, hosting Oak Mountain tonight up in Northport. Oak Mountain quarterback John Vaccarella looking for Cason Lemons, and they connect in the corner of the end zone for 6. And it's 7-0 after the extra point. A little bit of celebration there. Kind of got the Randy Moss there as he snatched it away from the DB. But here comes County High. Julius G. on the direct snap. Gets it down deep into Oak Mountain territory. But he let the football get away from him. Ouch. Man, that cost the Wildcats. And here comes Vaccarella, who's got a big-time arm. You see it right there to Jaden Aparicio Bailey. That's a touchdown for the Eagles. And so far this season, it's been a tough go for Tuscaloosa County High and head coach Chris Bell in his first season. Let's check out the final. All Oak Mountain Eagles tonight, 43-7. The Wildcats fall at home and go to 0-5 on the season. All right, more 7A Region 3. We're just going to keep it in 7A and Region 3 in this first segment. Thompson, of course, the defending 7A champion, hosting Vestavia. Good first half. Vestavia on 4th and 1, but Thompson's Wesley Gover absolutely eats that play up. Turnover on down. Still in the first quarter, Vestavia up 3-0, but Thompson on 4th and 6, and Trent Seaborn, their outstanding quarterback, scrambles, but he is stopped by the Rebels. Second quarter, though, Seaborn gets it going through the air. That's what he's known for. Darian Mosley is gone. 70-yard catch and run, and the Warriors lead it at half, 7-3. Tight ball game, but in the third quarter, the Warriors are going to open it up. Seaborn finds Mosley for a big gain on first down. And then to cap off the drive, K.J. Jackson is going to run it in from a yard out. That makes it 14-3. And you kind of see where this one is headed. Still in the third, Seaborn again. He's going to buy some time. and then throw it over the top to Dedrick Kimbrough at the goal line, in for the touchdown. Warriors rolling in the second half, and they will indeed go on to post the region victory tonight. Again, remember this game was 7-3 at half. That's what Thompson's capable of. They're capable of turning it on in a hurry. Vestavia is a good football team. I mean, a really good football team. And had opportunities, but once Thompson kind of gets going downhill on you, this can happen. 35-3 the final, but this was a very competitive game well into the third quarter. All right, also in 7A Region 3 tonight, Hoover was at Prattville, and we are efforting those highlights. We're having some internet connection issues there in Prattville, so hopefully we'll get them on before the end of the show. Keep this in mind. Hoover, who won the region last year, 0-2 in region play going into this one. Remember, Hillcrest had beaten them. Hewitt-Trussville had beaten them. So we'll try to get these highlights a little bit later, but we can go ahead and show you the final score. Hoover gets their first region victory of the season as they get it done tonight by the final score of 48-23. We've got the highlights edited. We're just hoping that the internet will cooperate, and we'll be able to get those sent back to us. If we do, we will get them on the air. You know that will be the case for sure. All right, Football Fridays, man, they are always exciting. Always a little bit of anxiety trying to get all these games, but we got a lot more to come, believe me. Still to come, in fact, our Abby Award-winning and Emmy-nominated Outside the Huddle feature presented by Premier Service Company and our Around the SEC segment. But up next, a huge West Alabama matchup in Class 6A Region 4 between City of Tuscaloosa rivals Central and Northridge. And this was an incredible football game tonight, right here at Falcon Field. Oh, just about 3 minutes from where I'm standing right now. Great, great game. We'll have all the highlights for you when Football Friday continues.
We are the Bibb County High School cheerleaders, and we love Football Friday on WVUA 23. Go Choctaws!
Bibb County cheerleaders, part of our Football Friday crew, and we love all our cheerleaders. We got some more of them to come here in the show. Welcome back. I'm Gary Harris. Football games don't get much bigger than a City of Tuscaloosa bragging rights game. Add in the fact that it's a Class 6A Region 4 contest, and you know it was electric tonight over at Falcon Field as Central played host to Northridge, and the game lived up to the hype. These two teams, these guys know each other, and they got after each other tonight. Central early on, Amari White finds his playmaker Trayvon Hall, and he is going to just absolutely slice and dice through the defenders. 60-yard touchdown, Falcons strike first. But the following kickoff, and Brylan Tubbs, this is, I still think, the most exciting play in football. A kickoff return. Central just got on the board, and right back, they have a special team snafu. They lose containment, don't stay in their lanes, and an exciting player like Tubbs makes them pay. He brings it back to tie the game up at 7-7, and this was just going to be this kind of game tonight. Here you're going to see the Falcons driving to go ahead, and Cannon Eubanks, 28 yards for the touchdown. Falcons take a 14-7 lead, but that was just the tip of the iceberg in this one. Let's show you the final. This one actually went to overtime, okay? 24-24, and then in OT, Central pulls out the win. So not only do they get the bragging rights, but it's a huge region win for DeMario Pippin and the Falcons. For Ryan Lawley and the Northridge Jags, a heartbreaking loss, but clearly these are two good football teams, and they are both going to factor in a Class 6A Region 4. But what a game tonight. Central over Northridge, 31-30. Well, battle for first place in 5A Region 3, Northside hosting Shelby County. Northside led 21-10 at half. This is a battle for first place, as I said. But here goes Shelby County. The Wildcats go down the field to start the third quarter. Ethan Hall scores from 15 yards out. It's now 21-17. Biggest play of the game, though, right here. First play of the fourth quarter. Jackson Rhodes finds Austin Neitlinger gone. 72 yards. Wow. Rams up 28-17. And then on the next drive, Rhodes to Evan Taylor. Beautiful execution in the corner of the end zone to extend the lead. Northside would score 28 unanswered, and they go on to blow this thing open. This is a gigantic region win. Northside's unbeaten on the season at 5-0. They're looking like the class 5A Region 3 right now. Big home win over Shelby County. Look out for those Rams. I mean, this team is on a roll. All right, 2A Region 5. Tuscaloosa Academy, after losing their first game of the season last week at home to Isabella, going down to Utah to play Greene County. Knight's first possession, Mark Norris finds Mason Quarter slanting across the middle and then picking him up and putting him down. He leaves the Greene County Tigers defenders in his wake, and he's in for 6. TA tried to go for 2, or they did go for 2, but they did not make it. But later, it's a touchdown by Ty Johnson for the Knights as he punches it in. And then Norris keeps it himself and uses good vision to get across the goal line to make it a big lead for TA. Greene County tries to come back with their great running back, Ronald Wilder Jr., who's committed to Troy. He takes the direct snap and gets the Tigers back in the game, but it would not be enough as we check out the final from down in Utah tonight. TA, they were not in a good mood after, last week they were 3-0 and Isabella was 0-3, and Isabella beat them, but they rebound tonight going down to Utah and beating the Greene County Tigers 41-12. The final. All right, this occasionally happens to us. We have a schedule snafu. What do I mean? Well, from time to time, we'll have a schedule that tells us one thing, and then it doesn't work out that way. We had Hale County hosting Thorsby in Class 3A Region 3, but when we arrived at the stadium, well, there was nobody there. So that kind of told us what we knew. We figured out pretty quickly that the game was at Thorsby. Oh, well. We had good intentions, and we do have the final score for you. And it was a heck of a football game. Unfortunately, the Wildcats come up just short in a wild one, 79 combined points in this one. Maybe if they'd been at Hale County, the home field advantage would have been enough to pull them through as they lose tonight in a tight one, 42-37. All right, Bibb County now hosting Holt High School on homecoming. And Bibb County on the opening drive, establishing the run game. Jamarius Sanders is going to get the handoff and then get the edge and run past a number of would-be tacklers. That was a big play. Holt, though, trying to run it themselves. Antoine Long shoots down for a first down, but too much Bibb County. They get the ball back. Braden Cash, a missile to Cruz. That makes it 1st and goal. And then Kezias Clark is going to punch it in for the touchdown. Bibb County had their way tonight. Let's check out the final in this one as the Choctaws take care of the Ironmen. 40-0 is the final score from down in Centerville tonight. 1A Region 5, Brilliant at Pickens County. And the Tornadoes, young football team, but playing well tonight. Michael Billups gets it out to McQuell Enoch, and he is going to stay in bounds. Great footwork down the sidelines. Tornadoes go up 6-0. Billups at it again. On the next possession, he finds Kaius Sullivan behind the defense. Perfect strike for 6. And the Tornadoes go up 14-0. Another Tornadoes touchdown. It's 3rd and long, but Billups, man, this kid's got some athletic ability. Looking for a receiver. When he doesn't find one, he pulls it down. Slings a tackler off, and he's gone. Big time touchdown. The Tornadoes scored on each of their first 4 possessions, and this one was all Pickens County, young or not. They came together tonight for a big 57-6 win over Brilliant up there in Reform. 1A Region 3, Holy Spirit hosting Francis Marion. And the Saints looking to pick up a home victory tonight. On the first drive, Saints quarterback Charlie Strozier pitches to John Anthony Armour. who gets it around the right side and just inside the pylon for a touchdown. But that play is called back on a holding call. And then Francis Marion, similar type situation. They bust one. Michael Hopkins takes it to the house. But it was called back on a holding call. Come on, refs, let them play. I'm just kidding. Here's more misfortune for the Rams. Wesley Kynard rolls and throws across his body. And Giles Snyder is there for the pick. Gets it back inside the 10. And that sets up the Saints. Strozier pitches it to Nigel C., who says, I see you later, because I got reservations for 6. Holy Spirit gets the win tonight. Big, big night for Holy Spirit Catholic as they down Francis Marion. 20-0 is the final score. All right, we're going to take a timeout and let you hear from some of our terrific sponsors. But when we come back, more highlights. 5 more games. Well, actually be 6, because we're going to get Hoover in there as well. But the big one that we're going to spotlight first played in Cottondale tonight. 8-man Christian Football Association action as Tuscaloosa Christian welcomed Russell Christian from Meridian, Mississippi. Football Friday was there, and we'll have the highlights right after this.
We are the ATA cheerleaders, and we love Football Fridays
on WVUA 23. Go Patriots!
All right, we've got those Hoover highlights for you. Hoover at Prattville lines up 13-0 in the second. And Caleb Freeman fumbles the snap, and it falls right into a Prattville defensive lineman's hands. Listen to this, 60-yard touch. They're up 20-0. 20-0. But here comes Hoover. Paxton Weatherby just goes right through the seam. Up 20-7 now is Prattville, but Hoover keeps the pressure on. Freeman hits Jeremiah Tabb. Tabb's a good one. He can really play. He rolls in for a 50-yard touchdown. Bucks within 6. Second half, and the Bucks' first possession, and they're all the way back. Freeman takes it himself. It's a 2-point game, and then on the next possession for the Lions, Javon Pulliam strips the QB and takes it all the way down to the 1-yard line. The Bucks score on the next play. And the comeback really is complete. And then later, Jonah Winston puts a bow on it. Hoover comes all the way back to win it. 48-23 is that final. So glad we could get those highlights. We thank Patrick Devers, former WVUA 23 employee who now works for Hoover, for sending those highlights. And what a comeback. And Hoover gets the win tonight, their first region win of the season. All right, we're back here on Football Friday. I'm Gary Harris. Let's check in now on some CFA 8-man action. Let's go over to Cottondale as Russell Christian taking on Tuscaloosa Christian. Russell Christian from Meridian. Of course, Tuscaloosa Christian, the home team, but it was all visitors in this one. Early second quarter, Russell Christian QB Bo Morphus completes a quick pass to Miles Coleman. It's 15-0 after the 2-point conversion. Tuscaloosa Christian going to put it on the ground. That's never a good thing. Carton Niswander swoops it up and scores the touchdown. It's now 23-0 Russell Christian. Tuscaloosa Christian, though, going to make a play right here. Braden Hughes down the left sideline. Got caught from behind, but still it's a 50-yard gain. Did not score, though. But here's some defense by the Warriors as they strip Morphus of the football. And Mason McCoy jumps on it, but not enough tonight as Russell Christian comes over from Meridian and beats the Warriors here in Cottondale tonight by the final score of 38-0 in 8-man action. Non-region game here, Helena at Moody. This was a good one, Helena on the road. Early on, it is the Helena Huskies. Jake Lowry rolls right, and he'll throw across his body, and it's picked off by Helena's Demarion Williams. He'll run it down to the 1-yard line. Great play there, and 2 snaps later, Dominic Santiago goes in from a yard out, and Helena takes an early 7-0 lead at Moody. But Lowry was not discouraged. You know, if you're a good quarterback, you got to come back after adversity. He does right there. Throws a 32-yard strike to Aubrey Walker to tie it up at 7. Helena, though, they're up to the challenge. Second quarter, same part of the end zone. Nathan Ferguson connects with Bradley Wainwright. Made it 14-7 Helena, but just after that score, Here come the Blue Devils. Big kick return sets up Marion Meadows, and he's in from 24 yards out. And we're tied at 14. LaCameron, I finally got it out right. LaCameron Meadows, but that would be the score at half. Let's check out the final from over at Moody tonight. Good football game, but LaCameron Meadows and Moody get the victory tonight over Helena, 31-28. 5A Region 6 leads at Jacksonville tonight. Boy, those Golden Eagles fans were making some noise. Jacksonville on the little option play here. Marquavius McNeil for a 10-yard gain. Then it's a handoff to McNeil, and he's going to get over from 5 yards out to give Jacksonville the lead. Leeds is a really strong team, and they would come back. Bennett Shofar to Marquintus Meadows. Little screen pass, and Meadows powers over a couple of tacklers for a big down, big first down. But with Jacksonville, when they got it back, Kelvin Hughley. Watch this. You think he's down? No, he pops out of there. And Hughley is gone. 70-yard touchdown for the Golden Eagles at home. And Jacksonville rolls tonight over Leeds. Probably not a surprise that the Golden Eagles won, but that they won 30-7, yeah, I'm a little surprised by that final score tonight. Big one in 6A Region 6, Mountain Brook at Oxford over in Calhoun County. Good football game between two good teams. First quarter for Oxford, Maddox Mims is going to avoid the pressure and then pull it down, and watch the dive right here. He lays out, gets it into the end zone, and the Yellow Jackets go up 7-0. Second quarter, though, Mountain Brook answers. Lawson McKnight powers it over from a couple yards out to make it 7-7. And then it's McKnight on a much longer scamper as he busted off tackle. Nobody's going to catch him. If you're wondering about the helmets, Mountain Brook, they wear the Guardian caps that most teams practice in. They wear them in the games. But here comes Oxford on the screen pass. Maddox to Jalen Taylor. That would tie it at 14. And as we check out the final tonight, Mountain Brook pulls away. This looked like it was going to be a game that was going to go right down to the wire. But the Spartans on the road in a huge second half beat the Yellow Jackets 42-14. All right, we got some high school football on Thursday night. Class 6A Region 6, Pell City at Huffman. Pell City coached by former Alabama defensive lineman Nick Gentry, and they were ready to go last night. Brody Gossett rolls and finds Logan Raines for a big gain down to the 11. Then Kamari Love spreads some love. He gets the touchdown. Punting was an adventure for the Huffman Vikings. This snap goes over the head of the punter. The Panthers pounce on it inside the 10. Short field, and Gossett is going to just call his own number here. He scampers into the end zone. The running game was on point for Pell City on Thursday night. DeJohn Neal, look how low he keeps those pads, man, like a bulldozer. He busted in for a touchdown, and then another special teams miscue. This time, Tristan Anderson blocks the Huffman punt. Tristan Davis scoops it up and scores. All Pell City as they move to 4-1 on the season for the first time since 2016. 49-7 was that final score on Thursday night. All right, we're through with our highlights, but we still have a lot more to come here on Football Friday, including a trip around the SEC, recruiting trails with Tiger Insider's Rodney Orr, and if you're wondering how your favorite high school football team fared this evening, you won't have to wonder much longer because we're going to have our complete Football Friday scoreboard presented by Beulah Baptist Church. That's coming up next on WVUA 23's Football Friday. Hell County, our marching band of the week, and they did a really good job there with the late, great George Harrison's Here Comes the Sun. Really nice job. Welcome back into Football Friday. It's time now to check in on some other scores from across Alabama with our Beulah Baptist Church Football Friday scoreboard. So let's get right to it and run them down for you. American Christian Academy needed this one. They go on the road to Fairfield and get a big win tonight by 25 points. It was McAdory over Brookwood in a while, win 54-26, but Brookwood able to score some points tonight. Gordo wins big at midfield, 56-20. Fayette County, speaking of winning big, at Haleyville tonight. The Tigers by 40, 61-21 the final. Southside Selma, way too much for Greensboro tonight, 62-6. It was Hubbartville winning big at Marion County, 61-28. The Lions take that one. Demopolis at home over Selma, big, 47-8. Here's a close one. West blocked it. Nice win at home over Oak Grove, 18-17, the final in that game. It was also tonight Winfield big at home over Phil Campbell, and Sipsey Valley with a road win. The Bears get it done at Jemison, 26-7 the final. University Charter at home down in Livingston, 62-0 over Pickens Academy. Berry took down South Lemoore up in Fayette County, 54-33 that final. It was Vincent over Sulligent, 34-8, and Snook Christian, which is down in the Gulf Coast area, over North River Christian out of our area, 60-6 the final in that game. Also tonight, Linden shuts out Choctaw County on the road, 14-0, and Hueytown, that was a big game in 6A Region 4 over Bessemer City, 28-7. Pinson Valley blanks Shades Valley in the Battle of the Valleys, 33-0. Hamilton over Curry, 48-21. It was Vinemont, too much for Carbon Hill, and Fultondale trips up Dora. Jasper, a big home win over Athens, and J.B. Pennington tonight at Locust Fork, and J.B. Pennington gets it done, 46-14 the final. That's our Football Friday scoreboard, but we are not done with high school football, because when we come back, as always, our high school football analyst, Joe Gaither from Bama Central, will join me for our Game of the Week analysis. I think Joe and I both felt like this would be a closer game. It wasn't an easy win for Hewitt-Trussville, but they did shut out the Patriots tonight. We will have analysis when we come back to Football Friday.
We are the Morgan Academy cheerleaders, and you're watching Football Friday on WVUA 23. Let's go, Morgan!
Bama Central's Joe Gaither joins me as always for high school football analysis, and you and I talked earlier in the week. We narrowed it down to two games for Game of the Week. Central and Northridge, which we knew was going to be a big rivalry, bragging rights and all that, but with Hillcrest having beaten Hoover and sitting there at 3-1 in 7A Region 3, we said, and Hewitt-Trussville undefeated, we said, let's go with that game. And it was a hard-nosed football game. I thought Hewitt-Trussville would do about what they did on offense. I thought Hillcrest would have some offense. But the story really was the Hewitt-Trussville defense, and to some degree the Hillcrest defense for kind of keeping them in the game.
Oh, the Hillcrest defense absolutely held them in the game or kept them in the game, but Hillcrest couldn't get over their own way. 11 penalties tonight, 7 pre-snap penalties, and really couldn't get anything going offensively. You got to give the Hewitt-Trussville defensive line a lot of credit. Mm-hmm. They really ended up controlling the entire game. The Patriots weren't able to run the football, and then Hillcrest threw an interception to kind of close out the first half where they were trying to get back into the game. Mm-hmm. Really, Hillcrest did get into the end zone. A 50-yard touchdown pass was called back for illegal procedure. Absolutely, that would have made it 10-7.
If that touchdown stands, Joe, do you think it could have been a different game?
Yeah, absolutely. The momentum would have been right there. The sideline was buzzing. The stands were buzzing. The stands were full. You got to give the Patriot faithful a lot of credit. But just the penalties just stayed plaguing them the entire night. And ultimately, Jack Floyd was just directing the traffic and let his playmakers make the plays. They got after it. You had Dylan Cope got into the end zone on a 45-yard touchdown pass, and Deuce Alston got into the end zone, just diving into the end zone to open the scoring. But exactly, the offensive line just couldn't get anything going against the Hewitt-Trussville defense.
All right, 4 teams from the region make the playoffs. Hillcrest falls to 1-2, and they still have to play Thompson, but they've still got some winnable games in the region. Do you think they still have a shot to make the playoffs?
Absolutely. I mean, at this point, they face some tough teams. They beat Hoover. They've lost 2 tough games right in a row. They get kind of maybe a get-right game next week. They're out of region against Hueytown, so maybe build some more momentum before some of these tougher teams. Absolutely. The Patriots definitely can still make the playoffs if a couple breaks go their way.
All right, let's do a little bonus coverage. Let's do a little analysis of this Northridge Central game. I knew it was going to be a good game. Listen, it's a City of Tuscaloosa bragging rights game, but it's also a huge game in 6A Region 4 for both these teams. 31-30 in overtime. Central missed a field goal at the end of regulation, but then they get a touchdown. Northridge fails on a 2-point conversion to win it, and the Falcons and Mario Pippin get a big win.
Oh, for Central, that puts them basically right there to still be in the mix to win that region. They're going to be right there with Bessemer City, and Hueytown is 2-0, so the Hueytown still hasn't got the same amount of games left in that region as everybody else. But to beat Northridge, to go across to really, I think that they have asserted themselves as maybe the strongest team in Tuscaloosa in that region.
Yeah, Hueytown looks good. Bessemer City's got a good team, but Central, out of the 3 teams in Tuscaloosa that are in that region, and Paul Bryant's still in a rebuilding mode, so Central looks like they're going to be definitely in the playoffs. They still got a chance to win that region, Joe. Yeah,
you just have a couple more games, and if things go your way, I think they still have to play Hueytown. They lost to Bessemer City.
They got to play McAdor.
Right, so it's going to be a tough road ahead, but really things can fall their way, and they can win the region.
Bessemer City lost tonight, so it could be one of those 3-way tiebreaker type of deals. So,
absolutely.
Hey, Greene, can you believe we're already just about halfway through the season?
5 weeks gone? Wow.
It's something else. It flies by. All right, that's going to do it for our high school analysis. Thank you, Joe. We're going to come back and have more Football Friday on the way. Keep it tuned in to WVUA 23, easy for me to say, and we'll be right back. Welcome back to WVUA 23's Football Friday, presented by Alabama Credit Union. I'm Gary Harris. Well, Tommy Wilcox was a 2-time first-team All-American while playing safety at Alabama for Coach Paul Bear Bryant. He went on to play in the USFL, but his passion away from the football field led to a post-playing career in outdoors television. Here's Stu McCanns with tonight's Outside the Huddle feature presented by Premier Service Company.
Tommy Wilcox wanted to be on TV.
It's over, everybody. It's intercepted.
If you went to an Alabama, Notre Dame, USC, something like that, you were going to be on national television, one of the big 3 networks, at least 3 times a year.
That carried nearly as much weight as the promised championship opportunities when he was recruited out of Harahan, Louisiana in 1977, and during his recruitment 1 year later.
My freshman year, I came up here, I got redshirted, so I was on the scout team. And believe me, that's not fun when you're the opposing quarterback against the #1 defense in the country, and all those All-Americans that were on that 78 defense. It's not going to be fun. I think about that a lot still to this day, where I would be at today if Coach Bryant didn't think enough about me to leave practice that day, get in the school plane and fly down to get me.
His homesickness gave way to his new home. By giving the University of Alabama a second chance, he fell in love with West Alabama.
When I grew up in Louisiana, South Louisiana, they didn't have deer or turkey. All we grew up on was rabbit, squirrel, no quail. We've never hunted deer or turkey in my life until I came up here to the university. And I just got to love it so much.
For the past 21 years, Tommy Wilcox Outdoor Show has aired on WVUA 23. The premise is simple, following the structure of the classic series American Sportsman.
They started this thing, well, hey, let's get these athletes out in the woods and on the water, and let's do one-on-one interviews with them, and let's get Ted Williams out there, and let's take him fly fishing, or let's take this guy elk hunting, or whatever. And then they would talk about football, their life, their families.
Some athletes transition to coaching after they're done playing. The thing that takes Wilcox back to football appears to be the furthest thing from the field.
God, that was quick. Thank you, brother. I love you. Thank you.
It's a sport that you can kind of communicate with the turkey. I know this sounds crazy, but you call, they answer, you emulate the female turkey. The gobblers talk to you and you talk back to them.
We've done segments where all he does is sit there and call. And he's trying to show people the calls, but also show them, here's how it's supposed to sound.
Tommy Wilcox Outdoors became well known for two things above all else: its celebrity guests.
You know, over 2 decades, it's got to be over 100. I know when you factor in the country music stars and the sports aspect, the coaches, the former players, it's a lot, you know, and he's probably had just about every former teammate that he ever played with Bear Bryant on the show at some point in time.
The show's other calling card became its signature sign-off.
Y'all come get you some. Y'all come get you some of these. Come get you some. Come see Jan.
Along the way, Wilcox discovered something that he wants his show to be known for that is better than words. He found a way to give back and help those that are disadvantaged through his 4th and 40 program.
It's like in football, man. It's hard to make a 4th down and 40. It's hard. It's tough. I mean, the odds are single digits. But what these kids face every day when they get up is a 4th and 40, because some of them can't walk, some of them don't have use of the hands, arms, some are blind, some have cancer and have 2 months to live.
In the everyday life, these people would never ever be able to get out into the woods to do what we're doing, to hunt, to fish. They wouldn't be able to do it. They've developed so many tools and things through 4th and 40 and through different sponsorships to be able to provide the tools required to let people who normally would never have an opportunity to get in the woods and kill that turkey, kill that deer. If you can just get somebody out there to hunt or to fish, a lot of people end up liking it because it's so unique and it's a lot of fun. Just being able to talk to people, the camaraderie, when you put all that together, a lot of people like it. But you got to get them out there to do it first before they can realize they like it.
Tommy Wilcox began his outdoor show taking aim at sports stars, looking to recreate a piece of childhood magic. Over 2 decades, some of the focus has changed, but it's still about creating magic.
What you think about that, Coach?
Yeah.
All right, Tommy Wilcox was a great football player. He is a terrific outdoors television host, but he is an even better human being. Great job, Stu. Great story there on Tommy Wilcox. All right, when we come back, Tyann Baker will take us around the SEC. Football Friday will return after this timeout. Welcome back to Football Friday. Quick correction in the Locust Fork J.B. Pennington game. We had the score right. The score was correct. J.B. Pennington won that game, but I said it was at Locust Fork. It was actually played at J.B. Pennington. Well, it's the calm before the storm for Alabama and Georgia, as both are off this weekend prior to the showdown between the two teams in Athens a week from tomorrow night. Still, there are 2 SEC versus SEC games as Auburn travels to Oklahoma and South Carolina is at Mizzou, as well as some intriguing non-conference matchups too. Tyann Baker takes us around the SEC.
Week 3 of college football was full of upsets and nail-biting finishes, just like the one in Knoxville when Georgia left with an overtime win over Tennessee.
College game day will be at Miami as the Hurricanes host in-state rival Florida. The Gators are coming off back-to-back losses and now have to face 4th-ranked Miami and quarterback Carson Beck. It will be Beck's first time facing an SEC team since leaving Georgia. While Miami has not lost a game this season, this game could be the test for the team. Another big game is Auburn at Oklahoma. Tigers quarterback Jackson Arnold makes his return back to Norman to face his former teammates. Head coach Hugh Freeze is trying to help Arnold with the pressure of returning back.
He's very mature, and he does not. He doesn't give any credit to any noise or talk. I mean, he's a pro. We all understand that, people might cheer for him, boo him, whatever it is. But I think he's mentally strong and is more about preparing. And my advice to him is, man, just keep the focus on our team.
Arnold has not been made available to talk about his emotions about going against his former teammates. Both the Tigers and Sooners are 3-0, and this will be the SEC opener for both. South Carolina dropped out of the top 25 after losing to Vanderbilt at last week's home game. Now USC will travel to number 23, Missouri. Gamecock star quarterback Lennar Sellers left last week's game in the second quarter after suffering a concussion. It is not clear yet if Sellers will play, but Missouri head coach Eli Drinkwitz told reporters that he expects Sellers to play. South Carolina will need to figure out its offense before facing one of the top offenses in the conference.
Missouri is one of 2 SEC teams averaging more than 50 points per game. That's it for Around the SEC. For Football Friday, I am Tyann Baker.
Thank you, Tyann. Coming up, we'll have a recruiting tale from Tider Insider's Rodney Orr, and we'll check in with Chief Meteorologist from WVUA 23, Richard Scott, for your game day and weekend forecast. Stay with us.
You're talking about a kid that was all Auburn. His dad was a great high school player at Enterprise, signed in the 1982 class with Pat Dye at Auburn, same class with Bo Jackson. Rashawn's mother graduated from Auburn. She had several degrees from Auburn University. They were really tied in. And in November of his senior year, which would have been November of 2013, on the Kick 6 game, Rashawn was one of the thousands of Auburn fans that flooded the field to celebrate Auburn's victory over Alabama. That guy, he's not coming to Alabama. I get a call in early January from one of my top recruiting sources. He says, listen, he said, I've got some big news for you. I said, okay. He said, Alabama's in real strong position with Rashawn Evans. And I said, come on, no way. He says, I'm telling you, you need to check into this. So the deeper I continued to check into it, I started to find, okay, you know, this is real. You know, Rashawn Evans played with Reuben Foster, who at that time was a linebacker here at Alabama. They played together in high school for a year. Reuben was recruiting Rashawn, he was recruiting the family and making them feel comfortable that, hey, if you want to come to Alabama, it's not really that tough. You just have to make the decision. And on signing day, Rashawn Evans pulls out the Alabama hat. What was crazy about it, though, 30 minutes before his live announcement on ESPN, the Auburn Athletics official website releases a profile of Rashawn Evans saying he had already signed with Auburn. This is before he makes his announcement on ESPN. So that kind of kills the drama, right? So when he pulls out that hat, I'm thinking, he's not going to Alabama. He's getting ready to toss that hat to the side. He puts the hat on and he said, I'm going to spend the next 3 or 4 years at the University of Alabama.
Most local high school football games ending with no problems. The showers and thunderstorms quickly faded this evening. Now, we'll do it all over again tomorrow. We're going to be out and about beginning our weekend. Now, Bama's off this weekend. Let's talk college football. Auburn taking on Oklahoma over Norman on Saturday. Now, that's a 2:30 kickoff. Look for the potential for a few showers and thunderstorms. The better rain chance later in the game. So if you're going to be heading that way, if you're watching the Auburn game on television, there could be some delays if some of those storms pop up nearby. And again, the risk of rain 30 to 40%, so it's not overwhelming. And I do think if there's any storms in that area, they will be pretty brief. Now, for the Mississippi State game, they're taking on Northern Illinois in Starkville. Now, 3:15 kickoff. Look for temperatures in the mid-90s. Fourth quarter, back in the mid-80s. Look for a partly cloudy sky. Starkville not expecting any rain for tomorrow. Here's that weekend. A few pop-up thunderstorms locally for West Alabama counties for Saturday and Sunday. We've got mid-90s on Saturday, low 90s coming up on Sunday. I do expect the risk of rain mostly between 1 p.m. and 8 p.m., kind of like what we've had for much of the week. Again, that's your local forecast update. Have a great weekend.
Thank you, Richard. That's going to do it for Football Friday. Thank you for watching, and have a great weekend, everybody. Good night.